welcome to the Lesson Satisfactory Strictly Sports Podcast. I am Austin.
This is Ethan.
And I'm going back to my normal voice. Well, it's that time of the year where I completely forget to do some of the podcasts. So instead, we're starting our Strictly Sports Podcast just to confuse the hell out of anyone that's trying to keep up.
And it's also August, which means... Well, I mean, there's football coming up, but fantasy football!
That is the real football.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Who cares about real football? There's fantasy football.
Yes, and since we are fantasy football fanatics, if you will, we want to help out one of our friends this year. You may have seen him in such videos as this. And this. Yeah, so this fella here, he's just, how would you say it, Ethan?
Just doesn't want to put in the effort.
No. He remembers things from football from about 2008, so he just drafts on that knowledge.
He also tends to draft from Austin and I's favorite teams, I think, just to screw with us.
But what he fails to grasp is our teams suck.
Yes.
So,
for the record, Austin is a fan of, for some reason, the Buccaneers.
And Ethan, for some ungodly reason, is also a fan of the Lions.
Hey, they're the best.
I do like Matt Stafford. He's very solid option.
It's not going to be around for long, though.
I know, and then you're going to have to find a newbie.
No!
Well, until then, though, you still do have him, and that's positive.
Yes. He's a perfectly good quarterback. It just didn't look good last year.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that he's on Braden's team all the time, so...
So, in order to help out our friend, we're going to kind of try and help him figure out what in the heck he should draft.
Yeah, and to not pick a kicker in the first round.
Oh, gosh. I don't think... See, the sad thing is he didn't even pick, like, a good kicker in the first round.
I think it was 2 or 3 seasons ago. He picked Graham Gano from the Panthers. But don't get me wrong, he's a solid kicker when it comes to kickers.
But he's not even, like, the top 5 kickers.
No, he's like the 6th or 7th best kicker. Like, I would have picked Vinatieri, Gostkowski, at the time, Janikowski.
Oh, Janikowski, oof. At the time,
At the time, he was good. Even Justin Tucker.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's my solid pick every year, just because he's reliable.
I mean, but kickers suck, so...
Wow, they have souls.
No.
Which is why they're staying in our lineup.
Ooh.
So the lineup that we're going to go with for this podcast...
The league setup.
...is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers / tight ends, 1 flex, 1 defense, and 1 kicker.
I thought we were doing 1 tight end, too.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, the tight end and wide receivers are combined.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So that way you essentially have the option to do a tight end or a wide receiver. Dealer's choice. More often than not, wide receiver.
Tight ends suck.
No, there's 1 really good tight end.
There's like 3. That's it.
There's 1 really good one and 2 that are okay. And the rest just don't even bother. So let's go ahead and get to the meat of this podcasting.
The podcast potatoes.
Yeah, podcasting. I like that. So I'll go ahead and start giving out my first round, if you will.
Okay.
Now, I do have this on a sheet, and I showed Ethan before. I have to move one person down because he's pissing me off. Everyone listening will be able to find out who that is. So let's go ahead and start off with my number 1. I say Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara, really? You're going to go with him for your number 1?
Yes, I do believe so. Just because he gets so many points through receiving and through running.
Okay. It's not, I definitely consider him a top tier, but I don't know if I could really consider him the number 1. I think there's 2 other players that really compete for that spot that you're missing out on.
Well, at number 2, I do have Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
And because those 2 I consider the top when it comes to both receiving and rushing.
That is true. Because McCaffrey just got so much work. It's like literally, I think every other pass went to McCaffrey.
Yeah, well, guess what? every other pass is going to go to McCaffrey again this year.
Yeah, that's right. McCaffrey was the leader in both rush yards and passing yards on the Carolina Panthers last year.
Well, yeah, he's probably going to be the leader in passing yards too, soon, because Cam Newton keeps getting hurt.
Oh, gosh.
Now, there is a third person you could include in that group.
Yes.
And that's Saquon Barkley.
Who would be my personal number one.
I don't hate him. He's just on the Giants, so that's a dumpster fire waiting to set fire.
Well, that is true. That is true. But he is the best player on the Giants. And so they will just literally keep force-feeding him the ball play after play after play. And eventually, if he doesn't break, which it doesn't seem like he can. Yes, not yet. Hopefully, fingers crossed. He's gonna score big.
Yeah, there is a lot of upside with him, but that said, there's a lot of upside with the other two as well.
Yeah.
Because Kamara's going to be on a team that's actually competing, and then McCaffrey's the only member of the Carolina Panthers.
Is both involved in he's a great runner, and he's involved in the passing game, and he has an actually good quarterback to back him up.
That's why I put Kamara number one.
I get it.
Realistically, you could swap any of those three and be okay.
My caveat on Kamara for number one would be, I know that they got rid of Mark Ingram this year, but Latavius Murray is a perfectly good back. That's now the RB2 for the New Orleans Saints. And the New Orleans Saints tend to like a timeshare when it comes to the running back. And so that makes me want to put him in the third spot, but I perfectly understand.
I just don't see him falling off enough from that timeshare to warrant falling down.
Yes, but if anything, it looks like at least in the early part of the season, he'll probably get a few more carries and a few more targets and stuff because Murray is still acclimating to the offense, but you also have to remember Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. And
you know my thoughts on it.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are the three I have in the top three.
Okay.
Like, it's hard to dispute any of them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Those are the top three regardless.
Now, we had dinner this evening.
Yes. Yeah.
And while we're having dinner, we determined that after those three, there's a lot of discussion to be had. Because my thoughts do not equal Ethan's thoughts.
Oh, no.
Because somebody wants David Johnson up there.
He belongs up there.
I just don't see him having enough value.
But, you can't think of a better running back than him right now. Yeah, you could say maybe Todd Gurley's better, but he's got arthritis. He's an old, broken man. Melvin Gordon might not even play to start the season.
If Melvin Gordon plays, I think he has...
David Johnson's still better.
I think Melvin Gordon's just a little bit better.
It's the athleticism.
He has no offensive line.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't need it.
Yes, you do. You know how running works. Why do you think...
David Johnson is good enough to push through. And they have a new offensive coordinator, new coaches, means a better offense where they don't just take one of the best running backs in the league and tell them to run up the center. Because that's literally all they did last year is you know what, David Johnson, you're a great pass catcher. You can run. We're just going to send you right up the center and see what happens. That was stupid.
Yeah, it was.
It's going to be a much better offense for him this year, I think.
So just to shut you up, because we've been talking about this for the last 3 hours, I'm going to go ahead and let David Johnson be number 4.
Yes.
Against my better judgment,
I believe in you, Johnson.
We're going to go ahead and put him there for Braden's sake. Number 5, though, I do believe this is something we did have in common, is DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes. There's just DeAndre Hopkins right now is just one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Not only that, he's the only option that the Houston Texans have.
I mean...
Because Will Fuller's there, but what's he going to do?
Yeah, and I guess Kiki Kuti.
Yeah. And can you name their tight end? I'll give you a hint. I can.
Lamar Miller. No, that's not my tight end. I don't even know. I have no idea, actually. I want to say it's no, Hawkinson is Detroit now. I have no idea.
Did I even write it down?
I doubt it.
I didn't even write it down. Nope, I have no idea.
It's John Smith, John Doe.
John Doe.
Yeah. No, he's just one of the best. There are certainly other wide receivers that can challenge him for the title of being the best wide receiver in the league, but they don't have the quarterback to back him up like DeAndre does.
Well, that's because he has Deshaun Watson, who's one of the best up-and-coming quarterbacks, in my opinion.
Very much so.
Which, speaking of wide receivers that can compete with him, we go to we had 6?
Yeah.
We're at 6.
I'm excited to see how much I disagree with this.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
He's good. There's no doubt about that, for sure.
I don't think he's better than DeAndre Hopkins, but he can compete.
That's certainly true.
Plus Drew Brees.
Yes, that is all of these are fine, and also there's no other wide receivers on the Saints. They got Trey Smith, right? Does he still play for them?
I think they still have Ted Ginn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's it.
Drew Brees doesn't throw to other people besides Kamara and Thomas.
Well, he's got Jared Cook now too.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Jared Cook. But they haven't had.
That's what's going to take Ingram's throws.
Yeah. I don't necessarily disagree that he belongs in the first round, but there is a wide receiver that I hope is on your list soon that I would put ahead of him. Probably for a lot of the same reasons we like DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams.
See, you have him so high. And don't get me wrong, he is a very talented individual.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't have him till the second round.
I
think he'll be a steal in the second round, but I just don't have him.
He would be that's basically murder in the second round. Because if you get Devontae Adams in the second round, Aaron Rodgers is throwing to Devontae Adams. If you want to talk about having an elite quarterback with an excellent wide receiver, you cannot get much of a better pair than Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers.
Though I don't disagree with that. They're also working with a new offense that I think is going to have its challenges, to say the least. Because it's LaFleur from Tennessee that's running the show up there now. And I don't know that he's going to be passer-friendly. Because a lot of the time, when he was down in Tennessee, they would pretty much just run it up the gut with Derrick Henry until he collapsed with dehydration.
I don't want to talk about Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is an interesting specimen, but he's not anywhere on my list.
Draft him in the early rounds.
He is 10th round at best.
Yes, I agree.
That's rare. Listen to this fact. Okay, well, how about this? What if we put Michael Thomas at 6 and we put Devontae Adams at 7?
I think that's a perfectly good compromise.
All right.
I still would pick Devontae Adams higher.
Oh, whatever. Well, that leaves us with number 8, which is who I originally had at number 2.
Ooh, yes.
But this individual did some questionable antics.
Yeah.
It's not Tyreek Hill. I know people are probably thinking that. This is a whole different type of antics, and that's holding out for a contract.
If he doesn't, he's not even up for a contract. He's got 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah, he's also not going to get it before Dak and Amari do. So.
Yeah, well, but he is, I would consider Ezekiel Elliott their best offensive weapon, though.
Does he deserve a new contract?
Antics of a particular person who should, in all reality, should be going, second or third at, the least.
Yeah, but because of it, he's going 8th.
Yes.
Which is Ezekiel Elliott.
Because if I'm drafting right now, I don't want to mess with it. It was we already saw this last year with Le'Veon Bell, and I don't want to mess with it.
I personally am probably not going to take him this year unless he falls to the second round.
Yeah.
But I know that he still has lots of value, which is why we're leaving him at 8.
Yeah, he's certainly something to consider at the back. Right now, the way everything works right now, he's someone to consider at the back of the first round.
Yeah. Especially for someone like Braden.
The next pick, I'm pretty sure we both agree on his position in the draft.
Which one's that?
Well, actually, I don't know. Because I think my next pick would be the one, the only, the Julio Jones.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Number 9. That'd be a good pick.
I mean, the only reason why Julio Jones, Julio Jones? Is it Julio Jones? No.
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones, that's his name.
You say it wrong so many times, I don't know.
Figure out your J's, damn it. Julio Jones, damn it, I said Julio Jones. The only reason why I have him so far back is just because, one, it's the Falcons' offense. They're great, don't get me wrong, but they're very temperamental.
Yeah, you see, honestly, I'm even tempted to put him lower, but you made a good case when we were having dinner. He's just that talented.
Yes. And the other drawback from Julio Jones,
good job.
Right,
I'm very proud of you.
Is he was a little lacking in the touchdown department last year. It wasn't until like late in the season.
I know, he was on my team.
So yeah, sometimes he's a bit erratic in the touchdown department, which is a lot of points.
Yeah, and honestly, there's another wide receiver that if you don't want to go with Julio Jones that you could look at, which is T.Y. Hilton. He's not going to be in the first round on our list here, but just another option to consider. Maybe even a Mike Evans, because Tampa doesn't have anyone else. And anyone who says different is lying to you.
Ronald Jones? They don't have a pass catching back.
No, they don't have a running back.
Yeah, Ronald Jones.
What's he done?
Stuff. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Bucs.
I have more touchdowns than he does.
All right, but for this segment, I think we're going to leave it off with just the first round. We'll come back to the other rounds later. So who would you consider to be your 10th pick in this draft?
Now, I have a personal opinion.
Okay.
I'm sure you're going to disagree.
I'm sure I will.
I'm saying Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. See, that's an interesting one for me. Because, I mean, I like Nick Chubb. He's going to do great this year. But about week 9, I don't remember how long his suspension is, but like week 8 or 9.
No, that's Kareem Hunt.
Yes. Nick Chubb will suddenly find himself in a timeshare with one of the other best running backs in the league right now, Kareem Hunt.
No, I understand that issue. Up till then, though, he's going to be fantastic.
I think that he's definitely, if you do target him, if you do get him early on, I think he's definitely a great target for trading away early on, too.
Yeah, because when he starts scoring 20, 30 points a game first couple of weeks, you trade him to one of your people who are in your fantasy league who doesn't know a whole lot.
Yep.
Which, even though we're trying to help that person in our league, you may end up with Nick Chubb, is what we're saying.
Don't worry, we still have somebody who might draft Andrew Luck in the first or second round.
Someone in our league will draft Andrew Luck in the second round.
He might be listening, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
Yes. We still love you, but
why?
Yeah. I mean, looking at my list of top 10 QBs, he's 6th.
So, to push back on your 10th pick, I'm going to offer up one of my own.
Okay, what do you got?
James Conner.
I don't hate that. Just because he's going to be a workhorse back.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh doesn't really have a whole lot of veterans otherwise.
Pittsburgh doesn't like using more than one running back.
Yeah.
So, and also, like, I know he wasn't like particularly stellar in the passing department, but there is a huge vacuum now that Antonio Brown is gone. Somebody has to pick up the slack, and it might as well be James Conner too.
Very true. Very true. I mean, I don't hate that pick. I still would prefer Nick Chubb, but just because I think Cleveland's going to go on a tear that we've not seen in a while.
Yes, we'll be talking more about Cleveland in the second and third rounds.
Yes, I have 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 people in the second and third rounds just from Cleveland.
All right, well, that's our first round of that one fantasy football league draft.
Yep, that is the name of our league.
We hope you found some of this information helpful. We'll probably try to get better at statistics and stuff, but,
Who
This is
does
just sort of-
analytics?
This is just sort of a starter to try and help. We're trying to help our friends get better at fantasy football.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. There's one or two of them that draft fantastically.
Yes,
You know who you are.
and I'm jealous of you.
And I'm very, very jealous because I've been in the league with him for at least 10 years now. And he beats me draft day every day. But, well, maybe this will help Braden.
Yeah, let us know what your first round would look like, and maybe tell us how wrong we are in the comments.
All right.
We're probably wrong.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Have yourselves a good night.
This has been Strictly Sports.
With Austin,
And Ethan.
signing off.